All right. Apparently, the Mariners just made a couple trades that we're going to process live. So first off, Robbie Ray has been traded to the San Francisco Giants in exchange for Mitch Haniger making a return to Seattle, as well as starting pitcher Anthony DeSclafani is joining Seattle. We're going to go ahead and share the screen. So here's Mariners Twitter account has officially announced it. Mitch Haniger making a return to Seattle, along with Anthony DeSclafani. This is a lot going on right now, a lot to process. We're going to get into all these guys' stats in a second, but the initial reaction, I mean, they're trading away Robbie Ray, who has been injury prone. Obviously, he was out all last year with that surgery on his throwing arm. And if we take a look at his contract, in another move, the Mariners are obviously dumping his contract. Mitch Haniger, I think, signed a short deal. Let me see, spot track. And the second deal, which we'll get into in a second also, Jose Caballero was traded to the Rays in exchange for outfielder Luke Raley. So another thing completely out of left field, trying to figure out what's going on here. Okay, so Robbie Ray, he's due $23 million in 2024. And then there's a player opt out in 25 and 26, which Robbie Ray is not going to opt out of his contract because, clearly he's not going to get more money on the open market at this point with this injury. He's set to make $25 million in 2025 and 2026. He's not going to be back until after the All-Star break. So it was rumored that the Mariners were going to be, trading some pitching away because they have a surplus of pitching. The fact that they're able to trade Robbie Ray at this point is interesting. And we'll take a look at the return also. We'll take a look at Mitch Haniger's contract, Anthony DeSclafani's contract. So Mitch Haniger, okay, so he is due $19 million, including his signing bonus in 2024. And he has a player option for $17.5 million total in 2025. So, and then let's look at DeSclafani. DeSclafani is due $12 million in 2024, and then he's a free agent in 2025. So it's only 1 year of Anthony DeSclafani. It's 2 years, most likely, of Mitch Haniger. Welcome back to Seattle, Mitch Haniger. I mean, that's exciting to see that. But, okay, you're saying Kylie McDaniel on Twitter broke it down. We saved money after this year. Yeah. Because Robbie Ray's due $23 million this year. You got Haniger at 19 and then 12. So you're adding $8 million in payroll in 2024 for next year. But, Robbie Ray is due $50 million over 2025 and 26. I'm going to find the tweet that you're talking about. Kylie McDaniel. So the salary implications, thank you to Chris Lawler for pointing this tweet out. Salary implications, Ray has a contract left of 3 years for $73 million, 23 million AAV. Haniger has 2 years left at 35.5 total. And then DeSclafani is only under contract for 1 more year. So Seattle takes on an additional $9 million in 2024 payroll. In 2025 and 26, Seattle is now shedding $34 million in commitments. So, I mean, you weren't going to have Robbie Ray this season already, so that's fine. There's no impact really on the major league roster this year for pitching. Mitch Haniger is going to be your starting left fielder now. So you've got Mitch Haniger, you've got Julio, and you got Canzone in the outfield. And then a separate deal was that if we go to Passan, So pass-in reports. So Robbie Ray's coming off Tommy John surgery, owed 73 over the last 3 years of his contract. He's expected to return after the All-Star break. Mitch Haniger, a long-time Mariner who left for San Francisco in free agency, heads back. Okay. There was one tweet that I saw talking about. Here we go. Might have been Ken Rosenthal. Yeah. So in a second trade, Mariners are acquiring outfielder Luke Raley from the Rays in exchange for infielder Jose Caballero. So if we look at Luke Raley, Jake Fraley, but Luke Raley. Okay, so he's pre-arbitration. He's 29 years old, so he must have been in the minor leagues for a while. Luke Raley. And then I'm curious how many games Mitch Haniger played last year, because the concern with Haniger was his injuries, fluke injuries. So last year Haniger played in just 61 games. He had a batting average of 209, OPS plus of 73. Luke Raley. Luke Raley last year for the Rays, he came up, he played in 118 games. He batted 249 with a 824 OPS, which is a 126 OPS plus. He's a left-handed hitting, right-hand throwing outfielder. And let's see where he played exactly. Okay, so Luke Raley, just looking at his defensive positions right here and where he's played. He started 32 games at first base, 17 at left field, 10 at center field, 35 at right field, 18 at DH, 12 pinch hitting. So, I mean, this might be your backup first baseman. And, I saw Dominic Canzone taking reps at first base last year pregame. They got Ty France at first base. There's the rumors of the Mariners going after Carlos Santana. Maybe Luke Raley is going to be one of those depth outfielders / depth utility guy that can play first base. Jose Caballero was, depth on the infield, more so like second base and third base. Now you've got Luis Arias at third base. There's Dylan Moore. There's Sam Haggerty as utility guys. This is very interesting. What are your guys' thoughts, or do you have any other insight that you can share? Let me look through your comments here. Let's see. Yeah, John says, this looks like a salary dump, and I don't know if I like these trades. I love Mitch, but how long is he even going to last out on the field? That's the concern with Mitch. As I mentioned, last year, Mitch Haniger played in just 61 games. I'm going to look at his injury history. I'm not sure exactly what he had injured last year. So last year in 2023, Mitch Haniger had an injury on his oblique, a forearm injury, and a back injury. So a little bit of everything. But that is not a name that I expected to come back to Seattle. That's a shocker. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, this is the only thing that their entire offseason, this only makes sense if they're getting ready for a big signing. But I don't know how much confidence I have in that at this point. In the fantasy group chat, they're saying, or one guy said, if they are doing this to go get Bellinger, then that would be a good move. But with the Mariners spending this offseason, I doubt that would happen. And now, so now their outfield is Mitch Haniger, Julio Rodriguez. They got Dominic Canzone. They have Luke Raley out there. They've got Demo. They've got Haggerty. Infield, you got Luis Rios starting third base. You got JP Crawford at shortstop. Second base, you got Josh Rojas. Caballero was a backup at second base. First base, you've got Ty France, potentially Dominic Canzone back there. Looks like Luke Raley is going to be a depth piece at first base too. Then at catcher, you have Cal Raleigh. No more Tom Murphy. You got Sebi Zavala as the backup defending catcher. Mitch Garver is going to be the everyday DH. He's not going to be a backup catcher, or at least I hope not. Keep him healthy. It's like with Mitch Haniger. I mean, you got Haniger and Mitch Garver as your DHs. Sure, Haniger is going to play the outfield, but someone's asking. So Alex said, didn't Ray have a no trade clause? Looking at his contract, he had a no trade clause in 2022 and 2023. So there was no trade. There was not a no trade clause in 24 and beyond. Mikey says Haniger to platoon with Canzone and Raley takes over in right field. That might be how they go. I mean, if they don't make any other moves, then that's likely what it'll be. So would that mean that Haniger is not playing very much? Because if they see a majority of right-handers, then you'd figure that Canzone would be in the lineup majority of the days since he's the lefty. But again, looking at Luke Raley, Luke Raley had a solid year last year. Let's see. He made his debut in 2021 at the age of 26. He exceeded rookie status during that season. He played in. So Luke Raley came up with the Dodgers. He played in 2021. He played 33 games in 2021. Luke Raley played. Here, I'll show my screen. So Luke Raley, he played in 22 games in 2022 for the Tampa Bay Rays, and then last year he had his real spark. He played 118 games for the Rays, 249 batting average, 824 OPS. That's an OPS plus of 126. So, I mean, above average bat in his short time in the majors so far. Yeah, Andy says, my first reaction is, wow, expected them to trade a starting pitcher, but not Robbie Ray. Yeah, same. You'd figure that they wouldn't be able to trade Robbie Ray with that injury and plus the contract, or if they did that, they would have to give up a bit. But, it's Robbie Ray for a number 5 starting pitcher and Anthony DeSclafani. Let's look up DeSclafani. If you're just tuning in, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Stay up to date on all the rest of the moves that are happening with the Mariners this offseason. So last year, Anthony DeSclafani pitched in 19 games for the Giants. He just at 100 innings. I'm curious if there was some injuries there. He had a 7.1 strikeouts per 9, a 1.8 walks per 9, 1.254 WHIP. So we'll see if we can get 150 innings out of DeSclafani this year, if that's going to be the route that they go with him as a number 5. Yeah, I mean, well, at this point, they have six starters. So maybe DeSclafani is going to be their 5 starter. You got Castillo, Kirby, Gilbert, Wu, and Miller, and now you have DeSclafani. So are they preparing to trade one of those young starting pitchers, or are they going to send DeSclafani somewhere else in another trade? Because right now you have 6 starters in a rotation. So curious what they're going to do with that. This has to be setting something up, because clearly this is not their final lineup even after this trade. Christian asked, how would this lead to a big signing? It would lead to a big signing because you freed up $50 million with Robbie Ray over those next 2 years. So long term, it would save money, not necessarily this year. With the money that was exchanged, apparently the Giants sent some cash, I believe, but the Mariners are taking on about $9 million additional after this deal. So that wouldn't give them more money to throw on someone this year. John says, side note, don't know if you remember me asking what it would cost to trade for Holiday. Yeah. But would you trade Kirby for Holiday straight up? Because I would definitely not do that. I mean, Kirby's going to win a Cy Young in the next few years, if not next year. He is. I mean, you have a top 5 rotation in baseball. If you get rid of Kirby, that's taken away a lot of consistency. He's a guy that pounds the strike zone. That is extremely rare. Plus the plus stuff. I mean, the Orioles wouldn't do that first off, but to get Jackson Holiday, who would be an everyday player, giving up a Kirby, I don't know. That's too hard of a. I don't just emotionally. The initial reaction is that I wouldn't trade Kirby for Jackson Holiday, but Dipoto might. Yeah, Caballero for Raley or Raley. Not sure how I feel about bringing Haniger for Ray. They're too cheap for Snell, but maybe Paxton is next. I mean, if you add Paxton, then you have 7 starters. You got 6 guys in the starting rotation right now. If you add Paxton, that's 7. I mean, they're obviously moving another arm. That's going to be coming. Alex says, I know we should be patient for a potential big signing, but these moves are really messing with the clubhouse and the fan base. They're messing with the fan base. These are, there's all these mock trades. Have any of the trades that have actually happened been what anyone had thought was coming? I don't think so. This is a salary dump for salary dump. Also just change of scenery for both parties. Giants fan here, Joe, says this is a salary dump for salary dump. Also just change of scenery for both parties. Yeah. I mean, looking at technically the Giants are saving a little bit of money this year. They're taking on, I think the number was $37 million in total with, the additional money and years that Robbie Ray is adding on to them. Let's take a look at Baseball Savant. So Haniger, he probably didn't qualify for Baseball Savant numbers last year. Nope, did not qualify. But if he did qualify, he'd be up there in exit velocity, barrel percentage, hard hit percentage. I mean, I loved Haniger when he was on the Mariners. It was sad to see him go, but the health is the concern there. I think DeSclafani, everyone's railing on him in the comments, and I know he's not, yeah. Well, he's got a good walk rate. That's a positive. I don't know. I feel like, I guess he's your Marco. If we trade a Wu or Miller, who else do we get? Raley. Luke Raley. Okay. So he's a good base runner, a little above average bat, just at average fielding. He's in the 77th percentile in average exit velocity, barrel percentage. He's in the 84th percentile, hard hit percentage, 74th percentile. Looks like he strikes out a lot and he whiffs a lot. So the Mariners were trying to move away from strikeouts. I guess not if it's Luke Raley. And let's look at Caballero. I don't know if he would have qualified. Yeah. I mean, Caballero was more so a, defense guy. He wasn't going to light anything up with his bat. It kind of sucks seeing Robbie Ray leave because, if you had Robbie Ray in that rotation at some point, heading into last year, he looked like his Cy Young self. He was back up to like 90, sitting 97. He had a two-seam. He added a splitter. The Giants have a pretty good get with Robbie Ray, I think, when he gets to being healthy again. Zach says the Giants are sending $3 million to make the trade cash neutral. I think the Mariners are still paying an additional like $6 million more because of this trade. I think it was at 9 before this $3 million that you just said. Yeah. Let me ask you guys this. Would you trade Luis Castillo for Noelvi Marte and like Spencer Steer? Yeah. Steve says, I guess this means we will see Ryan Bliss for sure. D-Wet says, DeSclafani to long relief. Go get Snell and Flip Woo for a much-needed bad offseason redemption arc. There's got to be something because, like I mentioned, I don't know if the Mariners are getting Snell. He obviously wants to come to Seattle. But it all comes down if the Mariners are going to spend money to do anything or if they're just going to keep coming up with these wild trades. So let's go to, I'm going to see the Giants rotation. So the Giants to start are Logan Webb, Ross Stripling, Kyle Harrison, Keaton Wynn, Alex Cobb. After the All-Star break, you have Robbie Ray added to that. All right. And then the Mariners. Of course, you have Luis Castillo, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, Bryce Miller, Brian Wu. Emerson Hancock is there also. So you add Luke Raley into the outfield here. Oh, they already added Mitch Haniger to the lineup. Okay, so Mitch Haniger, your starting right fielder. Dominic Canzone in left field. Julio Rodriguez in center. You got Mitch Garver at DH. Shortstop, you got JP Crawford, Luis Arias at third base. Second base, Josh Rojas. Ty France at first base, Cal Raleigh. Brandon says, Connor, we got our boy back. Yeah. Did not see this one coming. I made a video yesterday saying Dylan Cease to the Mariners. Did not see that on my bingo card. Did not see Mitch Haniger coming back to Seattle on that card either. Is this trade any good? Can be. So the reason why the Mariners traded Robbie Ray away was to free up his extended contract that he has. He's injured this year until after the All-Star break. He's making $23 million per year, as you can see his contract right here. And if you guys don't go to Spot Track, you should check out spottrack.com. This shows the full details of all of the professional sports contracts. It's really helpful. Next year, Robbie Ray's due $23 million. He has a player opt-out after next year, which he will not take because a player would not opt out of a contract that is more beneficial to them than what they'll make on the open market in free agency. So Robbie Ray is basically guaranteed another $50 million for over 25 and 26. So the Mariners are getting rid of 23 plus 25 plus 25. That's $73 million on Robbie Ray's contract alone. Then the Mariners are taking on $32 million in Mitch Haniger's contract. Mitch Haniger's, no, it's 36 million, 36 and a half. Mitch Haniger is getting paid $19 million this year and then 17 and a half in 2025. Anthony DeSclafani is under contract just for 1 year. He's making $12 million. Then in the separate deal, the Mariners traded Jose Caballero to the Rays in exchange for Luke Raley. Luke Raley is pre-arbitration, so he's going to be cheap for a while. He's going to like 5 years. So Luke Raley is under control for about 5 years. Caballero is under control for about 6 years, but they're both making the league minimum. So the Giants deal was dumping Robbie Ray's last 2 years, essentially. They also had an overage on starting pitching. Luis Castillo, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, Brian Wu, Bryce Miller. You add DeSclafani. I don't know if he's going to be in the bullpen or if they're planning to have him as the fifth guy. The fifth guy in their starting rotation. But now it makes more sense for them to actually move, Bryce Miller, Brian Wu, or Logan Gilbert if they're actually going to be taking offers for him. Kirby, I would not trade. Yeah, Mike says trading Ray tells me the M's didn't trust that he'd be healthy enough to help at all this year. Yeah, I mean, you're banking on him being able to come back after the All-Star break, and you're paying him $23 million this year to do that. So they're freeing up a spot, which is now taken by DeSclafani, and they're saving money just on the pitcher deals. But then with Haniger, they're taking more money on. Mitch Haniger was an awesome dude, and if you haven't seen his player profile yet, after you get off this stream, go check out my channel on the player profile series. Just go watch the Mitch Haniger player profile video. I mean, it goes through his background and how he got to this point. He's just had fluky injuries throughout his entire career. He's been a solid hitter when he's been healthy. Mitch was the first Mariners jersey I personally bought back in 2017 after they traded for him from the D-backs. So Keegan says Haniger is back to the Mariners when he could have just stayed there and kept Ray for a decent fourth man. Absolutely dumb. I have no idea what the Mariners are doing with trading Kelenic, Suarez, and others. Welcome to the party. None of us know what's going on right now. I mean, you're getting rid of – they got rid of the top 3 strikeout guys on the team in getting rid of Gino and Kelenic and Teo leaving in free agency. He hasn't technically left. He's left, but they could go get him still. Probably not. But they're trying to move to more consistent guys. Luke Raley. He had it. I mean, let's go back to his baseball savant. Luke Raley apparently has an awful strikeout rate and a super high whiff rate. Luke Raley has a first percentile whiff rate. He whiffs a ton. A 7th percentile strikeout rate. So he strikes out a ton, obviously. He's another utility guy. He's played the outfields. He played 32 games, I think it was, last year for the Rays at first base. So it's definitely a depth utility guy that they've added. Yeah, I don't know what the Mariners' plan is right now. Do I think the Cabby trade will be Cabby only? I think that's all that's been reported. I mean, the fact that they got Luke Raley, who seems to have a bunch of control. Okay, so Ken Rosenthal, here's the official statement from Dipoto on the Robbie Ray move. I do want to thank Robbie for his time in Seattle on the field and in the clubhouse. He was a key part of taking us to the postseason in 2022 and in allowing us to remain in the race down to the final days in 2023. He provided leadership to our young pitchers that will be felt here for years to come. We wish he and his family nothing but the best in San Francisco. Andrew points out, interestingly, Robbie Ray had a no trade clause in 22 and 23 that converted to a $1 million trade assignment bonus in 24. So Jerry Dipoto made it 4 whole days into 2024 before trading him. And yeah, it looks like the Giants are sending around $3 million to Seattle to make the trade cash neutral in 24. Robbie Ray's $23 million salary versus the $29 million owed to both of them. Also, Ray and Haniger both have $1 million assignment bonuses that balance out. Well, 23 plus 3 is not quite cash neutral, but it's pretty close. It's about $3 million off. But Jack points out, Mariners have now avoided about $80 million in future salary this offseason, while raising season ticket prices again after being one of the most profitable teams in back-to-back years. Yeah. If you're not a Mariners fan, you might not be completely filled in on what's going on with their network deals. Up here, there's a sports broadcast called Root Sports Northwest. And so the Mariners apparently, along with, I forget who exactly it was. It's a big, it's not Time Warner. It might be. But they went in on partial ownership on Root Sports Northwest, like 75% ownership, the Mariners. And the other owner just pulled out of it. So the Mariners are taking over full control and ownership of Root Sports Northwest, which is where the Mariners, the Kraken, and the Trailblazers, all of their games are played on that network. And after the season ended, it was announced that Comcast Xfinity had increased the package that Root Sports is included in from the like base sports package up to the highest tier for cable that they have. So people that were already subscribed or paying for that Root Sports Northwest and cable package, the sports package, now they have to pay, I think it's $18.50 more a month. And that's on top of, even if it's not true, the Forbes article coming out stating that the Mariners were the most profitable team. I think it was in 2022, it might have been 23. And I was just doing a live stream a bit ago. And since like 2022 until 2024, I believe ticket prices and season ticket prices have gone up about 66% from 2022 to 2024. Add on top of it the Root Sports deal, and so many fans are just fed up. I've already canceled my cable personally. You could just do MLB.TV, and then you can find a way around the blackouts. But the Mariners are, I guess they're in panic mode if it's coming to money. So I mean, it's not looking great right now. The optics are not ideal. Yeah, the Cabby trade is solid. The Robbie Ray, I'm so on. Only time will tell if it was worth it for the Mariners. We all know Jerry is cooking something up. Could lead to a big signing. It has to. It really has to. I don't think they're going to go get Bellinger. You know, we've been predicting that they would get Snell. It just makes sense. And if he's willing to take a somewhat team-friendly deal because he wants to play in Seattle, his hometown, Bellinger, I mean, it would be a great fit to have Bellinger in that lineup, lefty in the outfield. Yeah, I don't know if the Mariners have improved this year. I'm not so sure either. Not at this point. I mean, the Mitch Garver deal, when you look at it, when he's healthy, he is one of the better hitters in baseball. Just straight up stats, he is. But it's the health. And a lot of his injuries came from Mitch Garver, I'm talking about. A lot of his injuries came from playing catcher. If you're just joining the live stream, make sure to like and subscribe to the Couch GM. I'll be covering, as much Mariner news as I can when it comes out. If you're just tuning in and haven't heard yet, Robbie Ray has been traded to the San Francisco Giants in exchange for outfielder Mitch Haniger making his return to Seattle, as well as starting pitcher Anthony DeSclafani. Robbie Ray is under control for 3 more years. Mitch Haniger is under control for 2 years. Anthony DeSclafani will become a free agent after the season. The Mariners also, in a second trade, sent Jose Caballero, who was a utility infielder, to the Rays for Luke Raley, who's a outfielder / utility guy, first base. Luke Raley's numbers initially looked pretty good for his 1 year that he's been up here in the big leagues. The Raley deal. Okay, so Ben says the Raley deal isn't final. I would expect there to be more involved there. It's kind of annoying why don't they just release the full trade details when it first happens? Instead of, hey, this Caballero for Raley, it's actually Bryce Miller and Jose Caballero for Raley, Rosarena, and Paredes. I mean, if that deal that people have been talking about actually comes true, that'd be insane. Everyone gets their Mitch meme back, right? Yeah. Let's see. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm trying to get through some comments here. Mariners outfield is stacked with Jenga blocks. Is about right. There will be no teams with more Mitches in the league than the Mariners. Mitch Haniger, Mitch Garver. What other Mitches are out there that could be available? Really, anyone out there is available when it's Jerry Dipoto trading for Mitches. Do we actually have a shot at a Rosarena? I mean, it looks like it. If clearly they're now willing, by adding DeSclafani, I don't think he would be a bullpen guy. If he's going to be your number 5 starter, then the Mariners are willing to take a slight step back with their starting rotation in order to go get a controllable bat. I don't know if the Paxton thing is going to happen. You think the Raley is the best piece we got today? Yeah, I mean, looking at his baseball savant, if the Mariners were trying to go away from striking out, that move didn't really help there. But Mitch Haniger, when he is healthy, he's solid. DeSclafani is just a number 5 starter, eat some innings. Is Locklear called up by June if Arias isn't panning out? Third base is my worry. Yeah, I mean, it's still a hole because Arias, he's not a health guy. He was a top prospect for the Padres coming up. But Luis Arias, his last 2 seasons, played 119 games, 108 OPS plus. Last year he played in 52 games. He doesn't have a very big history of health. But yeah, Locklear is an option at third base. I would have thought that they've got to make a move to get a different starting third baseman, I would figure. Unless they're going to take the risk of, calling up a young guy and counting on them to produce like they have in years past. The number that I saw with Paxton was like 9 million. I don't think Paxton will be 16 to 20. I mean, with his health concern. Could be wrong. Yeah. What did Mitch Haniger's numbers look like last year? So in 23, he only played in 61 games. He batted 209 with a 631 OPS, an OPS plus of 73. So Mitch is coming off of a down year. We'll see if he can bounce back and be that clutch hitter that the Mariners loved back when he was on the Mariners. Yeah, Mike says, what if the M's do these trades, but we trade Woo Miller and get Rosie, or I don't know what the we means, and we sign Snell? I'd be pretty pumped for that offseason. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the deal sending Caballero to the Rays for Raley isn't done yet. It sounds like there's more happening between the Mariners and the Rays. So it's official. Baseball trade value says the San Francisco Giants overpaid. Mariners won the trade, guys. The Giants acquired Robbie Ray minus 43.2 surplus trade value from the Mariners in exchange for Mitch Haniger, negative 29.7, and DeSclafani, negative 1.1. Deal is accepted by our model as a major overpay by San Francisco. As a reminder, the numbers listed above indicate surplus trade value. For example, the model projects Ray to be worth $30 million in his 1 year of team control, subtracting his $73 million salary. Well, technically he has a 3 years of control. He's got the player option, but he's not going to opt out of that thing. You've probably seen this image already to where it's, oops, all utility guys. Oops, all salary dumps. Whoopsie. Salary dumped another guy. Man. Well, so I imagine there's going to be some more, information that's going to be coming out relatively soon between the Mariners and the Rays. I'm curious what other pieces might be involved in that, or if it's a three team trade. If you're just joining, again, of course, Robbie Ray has been traded to the San Francisco Giants in exchange for Mitch Haniger, Anthony DeSclafani. Jose Caballero has been sent to the Rays for Luke Raley, which that deal is not yet done, apparently. So that means that there's got to be some other pieces moving around. So whether that's going to be actually the dream trade for the Mariners, in which they trade one of their young starting pitchers in Bryce Miller, Brian Wu, and they trade him to the Rays for Randy Arozarena and Isaac Paredes. If you're able to have a combination of Julio Rodriguez, Randy Arozarena, Mitch Haniger and Canzone platooned, Isaac Paredes at third base, JP Crawford at shortstop, Rojas, Bliss at second base, Ty France, backup of Canzone. You also have Luke Raley in the outfield, also at first base. You then have Cal Raleigh at catcher, backup Sebi Zavala for defense, and then you got Mitch Garver as your everyday DH. If that's what this is all like stemming towards or coming to, then that would be huge. And good on Jerry for doing all of this stuff to make that happen. But until something like that happens, this is all, I mean, just more of a salary dump and them trying to save money because their Root Sports deal is blowing up in their face right now. All right, we have a hot take coming in. Zach says, hot take. I have actually liked this offseason for the most part, getting rid of troublesome parts of the roster and adding really solid depth production, albeit with injury concerns, while maintaining the capital to go out and still add more impact bats via free agency or trade. Troublesome parts of the roster. I can understand why they traded Kelenic. Now what they got in return for him doesn't look too great, but Kelenic has had 3 years to basically prove himself at the big league level, which he hasn't been able to show that he can be an everyday outfielder. The Braves very well could turn him into that. Gino Suarez, clearly a clubhouse guy. His numbers were trending downward faster than expected when they initially signed him. His strikeout rate was there. Teo, Gino, and Kelenic were the top 3 strikeout rates on the team for the Mariners. They've added Arias. With the Kelenic and the Gino trades, they've gotten, basically 2 relievers. In each of those deals, they got a reliever, and then they got Sebi Zavala in the Gino trade. Yeah, Christian says Haniger is clutch. I'm glad we got him back. I hope he can health. If he can health, then he can hit. I loved when he was on the team. He was the most clutch guy that the Mariners had when he was on the team, for the most part. What a moment that was. If you're just joining, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll keep you posted. I'll be making a video on this later tonight, whatever the final deal is for the Rays with Caballero and Luke Raley. We'll see what else happens with the Mariners and the Rays. Man, just another trade completely out of right field, left field that you did not see coming. But stay posted or stay tuned on Twitter. Also, make sure to like and subscribe to the Couch GM on YouTube. I'll be making a video on all of this later. Thank you, everyone, for joining into the live stream, for sharing your comments, your thoughts, opinions. I'll see you on the next one. Gonna get off and process this one a little bit more and wait for the news to see what else is coming in that Rays deal. So thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next time.